So Season 4 of Warzone brings with it a new Resurgence map, Fortune's Keep. Let's go over all the details that we know so far, along with all the other updates that we can expect to see tomorrow. So here's a general look at the POIs. We did another video on this earlier last week, I believe, going over first impressions at the POIs and their locations, what to expect. If you haven't yet watched that video, I'll leave a link up above. So the first POI here is Town. This looks a lot, to me, honestly, like Favela from some of the earlier Modern Warfare games. Very densely packed urban situation here. You'll be able to jump rooftop to rooftop. There's a bell tower here where a lot of you snipers will probably like to sit out and live. They mentioned this densely packed community has it all: an old fortress bell tower, apartments with bright and open aesthetic, bars, restaurant, a pier, a gazebo, and a mysterious graveyard. We'll touch on that here in a little bit. Here's another view of Town down here in the bottom right, looking further into the center of the map. This is the keep area. But as you can see, there's a lot of tall buildings that are probably going to provide good sniping opportunities looking back into town. So if you are running on these rooftops or up in this bell tower, watch your back. All right, we move down here to Smuggler's Cove. This is just to the right and adjacent to the town area. And this looks to just be a little underground play yard. Not too much, it looks like, going on here. It looks like you've got a redeploy balloon or a zip tie situation here to get back up to the surface. A tunnel, so there's probably multiple ways in and out of this area. And if I scroll down here, I'll give you another look. So this is what it looks like from above. You've got town over here to the left. And again, this looks like a redeploy considering how high up that zip tie goes. So this will probably be the only redeploy balloon over on that side of the map, if I'm not mistaken. So that brings us to Keep. This has got a lot going on. It looks more like Capital from Caldera, that POI, if you guys play Caldera a lot and are familiar with it. The color scheme is a little bit the same. This looks like that main kind of parliament building, I guess. A lot of interior spaces. If I go down here, this looks kind of familiar to what the Capitol building looks like on the inside. Looks like there's going to be a lot of opportunities to have some close quarters engagements here, some in-building play, and definitely running around these open courtyards. Not going to be a lot of cover here. I wonder if they'll put some high-value loot out here to kind of entice players out into these open spaces, but we'll have to see. That brings us to Winery. So Winery is the easternmost point of interest and is one of the least structure-dense areas, opening up the natural island so that the Grenache grapes can root in the Mediterranean soil. Expect this to be a little bit more open area, probably more similar in playstyle to Caldera over here. Probably won't have too many hot drops over here for those that like the more urban environments. It looks like this is going to be the opposite of that, though they do say that the wine cellar will be stockpiled with loot, so that could be a hot drop zone, depending on how good that loot is. We'll have to wait and see, and that is just what can be found in plain sight. The rest of this area includes the North Bay and a military camp to the island's eastern border. So it looks like there's going to be some Easter eggs over here in Winery. Will require some searching around to try and figure out where that extra loot is. So as you can see, again, this is the winery area adjacent to the building of the actual winery with the cellars. Looks like some of the tent structures that we have on Caldera over here, a little bit more green, a little bit more vibrant. Looks like there's a redeploy balloon off here to the left. You'll be able to get back up to Keep area or maybe over to Town towards the center part of the map. And it says, it may be the tannins talking, but the winery gets the best reputation for folklore and rumors, even if the other three areas have their own quirks. We don't think we'll have to worry about whispers of the cellar being haunted yet. And that brings me back to my earlier point, which it seems to suggest that they're hinting at the fact that Fortune's Keep could be used in a Halloween event coming up this October for this year. They'll probably do something on Caldera as well, but I'm wondering if they'll also bring that Halloween theme over to the smaller based map of Fortune's Keep, perhaps Rebirth, who knows. I would imagine that they'll put their time and effort into updates on Fortune's Keep over Rebirth for the time being. However, we'll have to wait and see. But look for a Halloween event coming out this year on both Fortune's Keep as well as Caldera. That would be my primary guess as to what they're hinting at here. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is that they are updating Caldera as well. They're introducing micro POIs, they're reducing vegetation to improve sightlines and visibility across the map. So let's talk about a few of those changes here, starting with my very favorite one, the introduction or reintroduction of Storage Town back into Caldera. So obviously you guys remember Storage Town was also in our old Battle Royale WarZone map of Verdansk. It was a great POI, especially for plunder to drop in. You know, it was anticipated that there were going to be a lot of people dropping here. You could rack up kills, you could test out loadout class setups, try to level up guns. So it served a lot of purposes, as well as just being a pretty quality POI during regular BR modes. So they're bringing Storage Town back, and they've reskinned it, obviously, a little bit for Caldera. They've adjusted some colors. They've adjusted it to fit into the Pacific theme, but they're bringing it back. And to me, this really hints at the fact that they realize that people do not like Caldera as much as they did Verdansk. For all of Verdansk's faults, and believe me, there were plenty, it was overall a more enjoyable experience than Caldera and enjoyed by more players, relatively speaking. So what do you do if people aren't happy with the current game or the current map? You make it more like the old map. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing the decrease in the vegetation, kind of this island aesthetic that they were going for. Obviously, we're still on an island here. It's green, it's lush, it's not a modern day city like Verdansk was, but they're introducing more structures, more urban environments for us with those micro POIs. They're reducing the vegetation so players can't sit and camp and hide out in a bush, or you can't determine a player from their character figure from the bush outline until you're right on top of them and they're shooting you in the back. We are getting updates to make Caldera more enjoyable based on what players have enjoyed most historically, and that is Verdansk. So very interesting to see them go back to this. I'm very excited about it, but it's really an admittance that this game, this map, has not been as successful as the original, and I hope that they learned this lesson a long time ago when they were making WarZone 2, because that really, really, really has to, I think, for a majority of the player base, hit just right. This balance of urban environment, but also a few open areas for players that like that playstyle, and go back to the roots for WarZone 2. Go back to Verdansk. Go back to POIs like Storage Town that are going to be popular, and that game has to hit or this player base will tank dramatically. But that's really it, guys. We're getting a few more updates with the patch tomorrow, the introduction of Season 4. So, have fun exploring Caldera, the new micro POIs, Storage Town especially. Enjoy Fortune's Keep. Let me know. Are you guys excited? Are you happy that Rebirth Island is not being replaced by Fortune's Keep? Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, leave a like, comment down below, hit that subscribe button to follow along for more and for future videos. And as always, be well, be yourself, and I'll see you soon.